It seems that COVID-19 will be able to, in a way, increase the value of evidence-based policy decisions. What is your take on this? Do you think this will happen?
I think we have observed a newfound respect for science. Politicians everywhere, from Donald Trump to Boris Johnson and many others around the world, are suddenly having press conferences with scientists. It's not clear whether they do it because the politicians want to evade responsibility and simply blame the scientists if things go wrong, or because, and I'd like to think this, and I think this is what is implicit in your question, because people want answers that are more solid than politicians can provide.
A lot of discussion also about citizens looking for the truth. And how do we handle that in our new culture where misinformation spreads through social media in such a speed that it's also a challenge for governments to really be able to use social media to convey the right information?
I think the question is whether, and this is something that we're all wondering about, whether citizens want the truth or whether they want their truth. Mm. And what I mean by that is, it's pretty evident that in many hard questions, rather than seek some scientific truth, we want to find people who will reinforce our views, our values, our prejudices. Sort of an identity view of decision-making as opposed to a more scientific or detached version of decision-making. One of the problems of politics in the world over the last few years is precisely that the identity approach to these things has dominated. And technology has a big role because today I can go on social media or go on cable TV or look for online publications and find just the right outlet or the right writer or the right speaker who reinforces my prejudices. You know, back in the old day, there was one newspaper per country or one newspaper per city and 2 or 3 television stations, a handful of radio stations. Today, you can pretty much find the one that will reinforce your views.
How can politicians rebuild trust? This was also something that was discussed yesterday in the panel. And you talked about how maybe it's important just to be brutally honest, whatever the cost.
If you look around the world today, and this is true of rich countries and poor countries, Europe, North America, Asia, Africa, South America, where you and I come from, people say, I don't trust the government, I don't trust Congress, I don't trust political parties, but they don't trust any other institution either. The credibility of business elites, union leaders, the church or other religious leaders, the news media, it is down, down, down everywhere. The problem, or at least one problem with politicians, is that they're perceived as speaking out of a carefully calibrated set of notes. Never use a word that offends anybody, never say anything that could cost you a vote. And as a result, they don't seem spontaneous, they don't move you, and ultimately they don't seem credible. How you offset that is a very difficult question. I'm not sure I have anything close to a definitive answer, but something that I learned in my experience as a public official and somebody who ran for office is that sometimes it helps to say things that people do not want to hear, to be brutally honest, as you were saying.
Thank you, Professor Velasco, for your time and for this interview.
Thank you, Karina. My pleasure.
Join the Maryam Forum.
Join the Maryam Forum.
Join the Maryam Forum.
Join the Maryam Forum.